Hey, it's me again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. The amazing Flec here. If you're new to this channel, I'm currently on work, on break, during a 16-hour shift using the treadmill. Gotta keep active. And in the spirit of being active, in my previous treadmill videos, sometimes I like to just kind of suggest or hypnotize my audience into perhaps doing a little physical activity themselves, because I can appreciate when someone else does that to me or motivates me to get up, or if you have the ability to get up, or to just do some sort of physical activity, whether it's stretching or arm circles or head rolls or just something. A lot of us are working from home these days, or some of us, even worse yet, are confined to our homes collecting unemployment. Not me, I worked the whole time, and I'm glad that I did. It's funny though, I could have made more if I wasn't working for a good period of time. Funny how that stuff works. But even so though, as I've said before, I love my job and I love what I'm doing, and I'm lucky to be here and have some sort of security. And also in the spirit of physical activity, yesterday, after I filmed my video of the unboxing of my GoPro Hero 7, I went to the local rock climbing gym with a friend of mine, and I did something new. I was really proud of myself. I managed to do something called a chimney climb. And the chimney climb looks a little something like this. I'll show you some video. There I am, all amped up and confident. My first time giving a crack at this. We have a friend belaying me down low, making sure if I fall, they can catch me from the ground. If you've never been rock climbing, it's really neat. There is a rope that goes all the way up to the ceiling, and there's someone on the ground on the other end of the rope. And as you climb higher, they take away the slack. So if you fall, you don't fall very far, because they're there to stop the rope from dropping any further with a device on their harness called an ATC. I think they call it air traffic control. I'm not sure if that's a joke or not, but that's what they call it. But they call this a chimney climb because it kind of resembles a chimney. You're inside of 2 walls, or 3 walls in this case, and 1 open side. And there's various blocks and grippy handle hold things, and you just have to kind of find your way up through this madness here. And I get a little bit higher and I get kind of perplexed as to what to do next, as to how to maneuver up, because you'll notice there's a significant gap between where I'm about to get on this ledge and some other holds up higher. And some of them were sloped quite a bit, so it was difficult to get a good grip on it. But and as I was doing this, I thought that I was doing very, very well, only to learn later on that a chimney climb is relatively easy for more experienced climbers. But I didn't care. I still felt accomplished because I'm not there to compete with anybody. The only person I'm there to compete with is myself, and I thought that I did a pretty good job. So I was very happy about that. But yeah, this is where I get a little confused about what to do next. Like, how do I get up there? Where do I put my hand? And people on the ground are giving me helpful suggestions. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but do I put my foot over there? I don't know. What do I do? Well, at a loss. But after a little bit of deliberation, I managed to figure out I should move my back against the wall and try to shimmy on up somehow. There we go. Put my foot on that triangular piece. Grab a grippy bit. Nope. Yep. You kind of have to like push yourself against the wall. Like the lower part of your back and your heel has to kind of plant yourself against the wall, and you can slowly move yourself up that way. But it's for me it was pretty exhausting. But here we are at the tail end of the whole journey. I get up to the top. I ring the bell. I came, I saw, I conquered. Veni vidi vici. Someone ate a salad. There's a joke in there somewhere. I don't know what that joke means. And then they lower me down. That's some rock climbing at a local rock climbing gym. So I hope the good folks at the rock climbing gym don't see this and hold it against me, but I managed to climb 3 times. I bought a 5-class package, so I had 5 passes to come in on 5 different days. I've gone 3 times so far, but they only charged me for 2. So I have 3 more visits left. It's like I got a free visit in the whole mix. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to do some more climbing. I might actually buy another 5-pass deal in the future. I mean, I get a lot out of it. It's really fun to pass some time with a friend of mine, and the exercise is really, really helpful, especially when you're inside as much as you are in the winter during a global catastrophe. And if you work as an InnoMaid for 16 hours a day, 3 days a week, and you're back at your house trying to film videos and just domesticate and live your life, it's really nice just to get out of the house and live life a little bit. But yeah, equally important to physical health is mental health, and that's something else I've been pretty worried about lately. Among a lot of folks in my personal social circle, whether it's people I know in real life and talk to in real life, or even in the social media world, which is a different thing for me altogether. I'm kind of an introverted person, pretty private kind of guy. I don't have too many really, really close friendships with people, at least physically close anymore. I mean, a lot of that ended with the catastrophe. I keep in contact with maybe a few dozen people fairly well, and I wish I can keep in contact with a couple hundred people better than I do. It's just really difficult. It's hard because when you appreciate so many different kinds of people and so many different people in your life, it's difficult to like pick between them. You know what I mean? And sometimes I mean to like reach out to some people, and then I end up not reaching out to them because I feel like, well, I should reach out to someone else because I haven't reached out to them in a longer period of time, or I should reach out to so-and-so because I want to collaborate on a project with them, or someone else for some other reason, and then I'll get overwhelmed with what I should do with that, and then I'll shut down. I'll just not contact anybody, and I'll focus on whatever projects I'm working on, or book I want to read, instrument I want to play, juggling I want to perfect, music I want to make, or whatever. You know, there's so many different ways to spend time, and I get overwhelmed, I guess. It's good to disconnect from the social media world, which is a source of dopamine, as well as a source of disappointment, a source of anxiety, a source of worry, and it's really kind of strange because it doesn't really accurately represent who we are as people. I mean, this video right here, you're only seeing what I'm showing you of myself. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's easy to forget that. We're looking at other people's lives, sometimes in envy of what they're doing, not realizing that they're just another human being too who has problems they're dealing with that they don't air on the social media networks. Maybe they're having a hard time and they're trying to cope with that by showing how awesome their life is, which is great. It's got to be good for their self-esteem in some sense. On the other hand, I've known people who get depressed seeing other people succeed, which is strange, I know, but or getting upset because they're not doing as good as someone else is, when in fact they might not be doing so good and they're just trying to feel better about their situation. It's really kind of confusing. Mental health, big thing. The body and the mind go together quite a bit. If you're not taking care of your body, your mind can go. And if your mind's going, you might not think about taking your body properly. So it's a good idea to really kind of split those things up or bring them together, whatever you got to do in order to differentiate between the two and take care of both so you can work together more holistically. Now, I'm not a beacon of health. I'm not the ideal role model when it comes to such things, but these are revelations that have been coming to me more so the past 5 or 6 years of my life due to having some really, really good role models and friends in the circus community that take really good care of themselves, eat really good diets, manage to get lots of physical activity, and also stimulate their dexterity with the juggling and the wire walking and things like that, and also stimulate their mind by taking in good books, good lectures, audiobook. If you're not into the whole reading thing, you can still digest books without having to read them. I'm trying to get people to digest more information and read more, I guess, too. Yeah, eat your vegetables, do your homework, exercise, drink your water, you know, all that stuff. Wholesome Mr. Rogers kind of stuff. But on not such a funny note, I have some friends that I love and care about a lot who are going through some really, really tough times mentally. Whether it's directly attributed to this global catastrophe or just isolation in general. Social media, being plugged in too much can really drive you mad. There's the conspiracy theorists out there. I want to do a video on conspiracy theories, and that's going to come up, but I want to make sure that I word things properly and I express my feelings about conspiracy theories in a more concise way than I can do while just ranting on a treadmill. I want to have like do some writing and make sure that I have a good presentation for that one. But conspiracy theories, they're all around with so many conflicting views of what's what and what's happening in the world today, whether the catastrophe originated from one place or another, if it happened naturally or was it man-made, or all these questions. Frankly, I don't think, due to all the information that's out there, I don't think any one of us will actually know that unless we have some concise data or some facts that actually back all that up. I think that so far the facts suggest that it's something that naturally occurred and people are trying to contain it. But we really don't know. I mean, how can we know? We know that the media doesn't necessarily tell us the truth all the time. In fact, we know through things like Project Mockingbird, multinational corporations owning giant conglomerates of media companies. Like, there's got to be some strings being pulled here for various interests that we understand or don't understand. The point is that the world is a very loud, noisy place, and data is being collected all over for probably mostly for the sake of profit rather than some sort of conspiracy to control your life. I mean, as it stands right now, we all have a tracking device on us. It's called the cell phone, and we keep it on us all the time. We feel anxious if we don't have it. It's something that is a part of our lives now. It's expected. If you live here in the U.S. of A., it's expected that you have one, that you use it, and that you're expected to be available by your employer or by your teacher or your superior, whoever your superior might be. It's pretty wild, actually. And as a result of things like 5G and new technology being rolled out at a faster and faster pace, it's not making this situation any more comfortable for a lot of people. A lot more people are getting anxious or upset or suspicious or even paranoid about this technology being rolled out. Which is funny because I have a theory that technology is far more advanced than is currently out on the market, which is true, but it's slowly being sold with various upgrades of the next phone upgrade. I mean, we could easily be getting like 150 miles per gallon with our gasoline, but they're not going to give that to us because they want to squeeze as much as they can of those petroleum dollars before they just, lose all sorts of profits by allowing those companies to do that. It's all about owning the right patents and releasing that technology at the right rate to maximize your profits. It's a horrible thing. But that's the way we're living. That's the system we're living in, for better or for worse. The same thing goes with technology, as far as not just with miles per gallon in your car, but the technology that we use on a daily basis. I mean, I think that the 5G network will be able to transfer information so fast that essentially every device with a camera and a microphone is just going to be able to live stream and stuff. And I'm not saying that anyone is like, Big Brother's watching you. I'm not saying anything like that. There's not some people watching you. That's very unlikely. Who has time to do that? What I am saying or suggesting is that the data is just being collected somewhere, whether it's through a corporation, a government agency, or some weird pervy people, or just whatever. It's being collected on a database somewhere, or in multiple locations, and no one's actually actively reviewing it unless you are in a high position of power where people need to get leverage over you or some such thing. It's all speculative. And it's funny because I don't feel paranoid about it. Why do I not feel paranoid about it? I'm not important. As I said in previous videos, it's hard enough getting people to watch my YouTube videos, much less worry that I'm being spied on. For what end? For what goal? What do they have to gain by spying on me? They're going to figure out my preferences and what I like to spend my money on and send me advertisements for things I might like? Ooh. Now I'm digressing. I'm all over the place, of course, here. I don't mean to be joking around about these sorts of things. It's a serious issue, our privacy being violated, or in many cases, we voluntarily give it up by not reading the terms and conditions to use certain services. That's how it is. We're not reading these things. And if we are reading them, we're just kind of glossing through them. And if you are reading them with a magnifying glass and cross-referencing everything and calling your lawyer about it, Are you still using the product? Maybe not. Maybe you're using something else that values your privacy. Maybe you're using another service that doesn't collect your information. And there are services out there. We just have to all get on those services and find out which one's the good one to go to. I'm not here to advertise which services are better or superior. I hear Signal's a really good messaging app that is supposed to be extra encrypted. I managed to get on that one. Even though I have nothing really to hide from the world, it's just a matter of I prefer that my information wasn't collected if I had a choice. But I don't choose to live my life in paranoia about conspiracy theories anymore. In my early 20s, when I first got on the internet with a 14.4 modem, I went nuts. I discovered the concept of secret societies. And I started just looking up all this stuff. And I fell down a rabbit hole of wonder, got real paranoid that I was being watched, and that I knew too much about what's going on in the world. It's not a good place to be. I was not healthy for a couple of years from that. And it took me a while to, I think, fully recover from that. And I managed to find some good coping mechanisms with the idea of being watched, or the idea of not having privacy. And it's no laughing matter. I have friends who are really suffering from this kind of thing. And it's really heartbreaking to see it. If you don't know what it's like to have a mental illness, it's easy to criticize and it's easy to mock it or joke around about it. People who have mental illness or who have some sort of psychological malady or ailment can be suffering in ways you would never even imagine. I'm speaking from experience, but it's also from a place of empathy, of not really knowing how much worse. Not to try to quantify or like say, oh, my pain is more or worse than someone else, but to really think about that and realize that someone else might be suffering a lot more than I did at that time, maybe all the time or most of the time. And it's just sad to even think about it. God, I didn't want this video to be depressing. I went rock climbing, kids. It was great. Seriously, we'll do another video in the future about that whole concept of conspiracies. I'm gonna have to edit a lot of this stuff out. It's a very complex subject, and I would like it to ultimately serve to maybe to get people to utilize a little more critical thinking when assessing whether or not a conspiracy could be true or could be false, and maybe to be a little more comfortable with the idea of exploring various ideas of what could be happening without going completely nuts about it and feeling paranoid about things all the time. That's not a life worth living. It's not. It just leads to a dead end and speculation and just feeling paranoid and unhappy and losing hope. No bueno, no bueno. So let's shift gears with an unusual seg. Earlier today, I got a message from a neighbor that my other package came in. So I have some soft boxes for lighting, and I have different backdrops where I can finally start experimenting with some green screen technology. It might be a while before I put out any videos about that, but who knows, maybe I'll just surprise you with something. It depends on how fast I can figure this out with my learning curve. We'll see what happens with that. Well, in good news, I had a small entertainment company that I operate as a sole proprietor, and I lost all my contracts, as I said before, and I managed to get a little bit of money from that payment protection program. And just today I submitted my paperwork in for forgiveness with the PPP. It looks like I'll probably be forgiven. Everything's black and white on paper. I definitely lost a significant portion of income, and I got a small itty-bitty fraction of that through the PPP program. PPP program, Payment Protection Program. Personal Identification Number. Automatic teller machine. Anyway. Well, folks, if you made it this far, you officially like me, and thank you for liking me. I appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. I know this was a long one. I thought it would be short and sweet and just talking about rock climbing, but you know me. Blah, 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 blah. Well, Amazing Flec here signing out. Remember, everyone, to keep safe, be well, stay humble, and peace. And take care of your health, dang it. You're worth it.